Hey YouTube, the Fox Brother here once again with another Behind the Logic video with my buddy Kyle.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
So, for a really long time, I haven't done this in a really long time, but for a while, like, the Behind the Logic videos have been so stupid.
Well,
One,
I don't want to say they're stupid. It's just more like a chill back kind of video, you know?
yeah, I suppose so. But like I was talking to a friend of mine that was saying like, oh yeah, I was checking out your Behind the Logic video, but the only thing I got out of it was the fact that you can actually take a thing right here and just flatten it to make a little animation frame, and that's all.
Yeah.
So this time around, I'm actually going to in depth kind of try to explain what goes on within the process of all of these like everything here. So I'm gonna start with the actual system. So I kind of have to, talk about this, showing if I can find it. Here it is. This right here is where all of the attacks emit. This is like it shows Stephanie attacking left, and this is attacking right. There's two different boxes for each side that a player is on, but I'll just explain one side for us because it applies the same with the other side. So this is just a microchip, and there's a whole bunch of logic in here. Now this right here is a tag sensor that says general damage. You can make several labels for tags that will do a tag sensor. It'll sense a tag that's just with the same name and label. So once the tag sensor senses the tag with the same color and the label, then it will say turn on. So this tag is actually put on input or inverse input. So that means like if it's not there, then it turns on. A little bit confusing, but if you get on Little Big Planet 2, then you'll get it right away. It's pretty simple. So another microchip contains some more microchips and microchips and microchips. Now this may seem a little bit complicated to you, but these are three different microchips on certain attacks that you can pull off. This yellow one is for regular attacks. This is for special attacks, and then this is for super moves. Now for the regular attacks, these microchips all work the same way. It's just that different attacks and such. Now I'm just gonna explain one certain kind of attack in depth. Now these are the ways of attacking, like standard attacks, aerial attacks, and crouching attacks and such. And it will sense in the actual system inside the game that they are standing, not crouching or in the air. So it'll activate this microchip full of more more emitters and tag sensors. So for the crouching tag sensor, it'll activate this one, and then the arrow moves, it would activate this microchip. But I'll just explain one of these because it applies with the same thing with all these attacks and such. Now this here is a tag sensor that senses that the character has pressed an attack button that activates a tag that says the label of attack input light punch. This is medium punch and heavy punch. Light kick, medium kick, and heavy kick. And these emitters, they emit certain animations for that same attack. A light punch would emit, of course, a light punch. Applies with all these other attacks. And that's pretty much how the attack system works. I don't really have to go too much in depth with the other attacks. Like it'll sense that these two tag sensors sense that a player has activated the command of quarter circle or down forward or down back, aka quarter circles. And that'll activate this microchip, deactivate this one because it's attached to a NOT chip. This OR gate, it's attached to this NOT gate, and they'll turn this off and turn this microchip on. Well, these two, because this is also for supers, and supers are usually activated through quarter circles. And yeah,
Just for clarification,
mm-hmm.
quarter circle means you spin the analog stick halfway around.
Yes. Well,
Or
actually,
no, quarter.
yeah, like you'll spin it like in a quarter of a circle. You know,
Yeah.
hence the name quarter circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes some time to get used to actually doing a quarter circle if you're very new to fighting games. And I know a lot of people on Little Big Planet 2 are, but you know, once you get used to it, it'll get pretty simple.
Gotta use that D-pad.
Yeah, man, D-pad's like the best. So this tag sensor right here says attack input quarter circle forward. It'll activate this microchip. In case any characters have any like attack that activate through a quarter circle back, you know, there's gonna be like a microchip right here. But this character in particular used to have only quarter circles that would activate through quarter circle forward. And then in this microchip, there's tag sensors saying like, this tag sensor says attack input general punch, which means that you can either do light punch, medium punch, or heavy punch. Either way, it'll activate this attack. And same right here, general attack or attack input general kick. It'll do this attack. And now with the hypers, I'm gonna try to explain this really fast so that I can get right to the logic and such. But these are supers, of course, and this tag sensor says heads up display hyper bars +1, and that means that it's sensing that the heads up display has 1 bar of hyper, or rather, like, you know, super bar, I guess, whatever you want to call it, and it'll activate these 2 microchips, which mean that you can actually use these use these supers. And this first super right here, since this was Stephanie's older moveset, this is the Rainbow Dash super, which, you know, it acts like, let's say, I was actually trying to reference Philia's first super, the Gregor Samson from Skullgirls. You can look that up on your own, but this first tag sensor is attack input quarter circle forward, and you also have to do general punch. Now, since you can do this attack in air and the ground, there's no other tag that would sense that you are on the ground. That's usually applied for like certain characters who can only do supers on the ground. And this tag sensor will activate, telling the heads-up display to subtract 1 from the heads-up display hyper bar, or super bar, whatever you want to call it. And it will also do the super as well, of course. And you know, this is not really important, but these 2 are, you know, you have to do these 2 inputs, and then the AND switch will turn on this counter. This counter is set to 1. It'll reset itself, and it'll activate these 2 really fast. So that's pretty much how that works. Same thing apply with these other supers. You know, this is the Geyser of Wonder super, you know, when she goes underground and then like bursts from under. And then her level 3 super, which is amazing. You can only do it on ground, so that's what the grounded tag is for, you know, movement grounded tag sensor. And since it's level 3, hyper bar is -3, as well as, you know, you actually have that 3 bars to actually activate this, so yeah. But that's pretty much how the attack system works. I can't really get too much in depth with any other logic, because I would kind of be repeating myself, excuse me. You know, like right here, well, I'll explain a little bit, but like right here, there's, you know, attack sensors for moving, facing the right, you know. Same thing facing left, it will activate this microchip right here. Facing right will activate this microchip right here. Now, in general attack damage, this will sense that the player is not being damaged or attacking, so that means you can actually move around. And then this tag sensor will sense if you are actually attacking or have an attack sprite out, so that you can, like if you don't have one out, then it will activate, and you can move around, since this is set to inverse output. And in here, you know, there's all the tag sensors that activate the animations, and inside the system when you move around a certain way, it'll sense that you're moving forward, so it'll activate the forward walking animation, and then same with moving backwards, it'll sense that you were walking backwards animation, crouch, jumping, all that goodness, the dashing, stance, blocking, and right here at the burst. Though this is kind of its own thing, since you can burst out of any attack and combo, it'll sense that you did the input, which is R1 and X. If people didn't really know, I actually haven't really described that in a really long time, but if you didn't know, R1 and X is the command for bursting out of a combo, or just bursting in general. You don't have to burst out of a combo specifically. There's a special kind of way to burst to continue a combo, and I find it very useful techniques. I found myself really useful techniques to actually burst out of my own combo to continue my combo. Technically, it's a little bit confusing, but you know, that I'll explain that some other time in another behind the logic video. So after I've kind of rolled on my tongue multiple times, time to get to the actual thing that this series will contain of. Now, in KJ and Co. Battle Royale, you probably all noticed that I'm actually, this is a very new character. Like, you've never seen this girl before. Like, look at this, and like, who is this? But, this character is named Scarlet. Now, it's a little bit of backstory. Yaride will have a new voice actor. The voice actor is, she was actually in one of the highlights. If you saw, she was helping me out do some voice acting for another game that I'm doing, and we recorded a little funny highlight that happened in the middle of our recording session, and she's the one who said "bastardly fart." If you want to look up that video, just look up highlights. And so she's going to be voicing Yaride. Now, the old voice actor for Yaride is actually voicing this character right here, named Scarlet. Now, Scarlet's business, she's a wolf, even though she has little angelic angelic wings. I'm like rolling on my tongue so much right now. Angelic wings and demonic looking dark wings. Now, the way that I'm going to make this character is she's going to have two different play styles. I'm going to go a little bit in depth with how I'm actually going to go about doing this. It's going to be a little bit complicated. Things are going to get a little bit messy, and things are going to screw up a lot.
Oh, God.
But this will be fun, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Adventure. Now,
you haven't really done a two-sided type of character before, right?
Never. But you know what? I always like to give myself a challenge and take a stab at it. And I feel like this character would be a really, really fun character to use, especially for people who love to have a various set of movesets in their hand. Or rather, just different modes in general.
Is this going to be like sort of like two different movesets?
In a way, technically, yes. Yeah. Every single attack that she has will change, and it'll have different attributes. Attributes? They put like in subtitles below, like attributes. But yeah. So just a little bit more in depth of how this character will work is, these are just animations and stuff. I'll go into that in a second. But the way that she will work is that she will have two different modes, and in light mode, she'll have light and dark mode. In light mode, she can have attacks that cause more damage. They do a lot less hits, just single hit attacks, and her attacks will be a little bit more ranged. But on the flip side of movement, she will have a slower fall, she will have a slower dash, though she can jump a little bit higher. And in dark mode, she will have the complete opposite. She'll have a faster dash, a faster fall. She'll jump a little bit lower, but in return, her attacks, what she can do is most of her attacks will become projectiles instead, and it'll be pretty much like a bullet hell. Like yeah, it's gonna be insane. But her attacks, if you get close, or rather, if she attacks you close by, most of her attacks will do very very light pokes, and she won't be able to really chain many attacks together. So on the flip side, most of her attacks will be projectiles. They won't be able to like be chainable. Um, and her attacks do a lot less damage, but more hits, which means that you will do less damage for every single hit that you land once you start to actually like manage to find some combos and such. But yeah.
Quick question. Will you be able to switch modes spontaneous, or is it kind of like gonna be oh, you have to hit a certain button for like, I don't know, half a second?
Well, like you just like do a little command, and like that'll probably be like quarter circle back and a punch or something like that, just to switch. Sorry about that, I kind of quick edit, but yeah, what will happen is like you can actually switch between modes if you're in the middle of your combo, but you can't do it when you're getting attacked.
I see. So like, what was the mode? I think it was dark, where you fall faster.
Yes.
So like, say you're doing like an aerial combo, and you kind of like do a what's it called? Not really. I guess a ground bounce. I don't know, like a heavy aerial punch, and it like sends the enemy downward. Then you can switch to dark mode, so you can like get back into the combo quicker.
Yep.
Okay, that's interesting.
Well, at least I think that would happen. You know, I don't want to really make it too... Well, I don't think it'd be too overpowering if you can just instantly change, like, modes, because, you know, it's just, like, it's not that it's going to really be overpowered. It's just literally, like, having two different movesets, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be really much of a problem if you can just instantly switch. You know, you'll see a little startup animation, and you'll probably, like, start to fall faster as you're doing it, maybe. But, yeah, that's going to happen. So,
But there's going to be, like, downfalls for each mode, sort of, right?
Yes.
So
like,
it's
with,
kind of like, it equals out, in a way.
Yeah. Like, with light mode, you can't really dash as fast. But in dark mode, you can dash extremely fast. And, on the flip side, like, you know, you can't dash as fast, so you have more powerful attacks. But then, dark mode, you have, really weak attacks, but you can dash really fast. It's kind of pretty much the flip side of it. So, anyway, this character was being built off of Stephanie, but, you know, it's just like a moveset that I kind of figured that would be easier to just build off of. But anyway, now back to the not the logic, but actually making the character. Her animation style is going to be very, very sassy, and like, you know, you see already she's like strutting her stuff, just like, come at me. Like her walking forward animation is just like too amazing. Like, check this out. It's just like, I just need to show this off really quick because this is just amazing. Alright, check out this. Like, look at that. Just strut her stuff.
Yo.
Like, what's good? Like, you don't know who you dealing with. That's the attitude that she has right now. Yeah, we didn't freeze.
Yeah, I was thinking, hey, come out,
Let's not freeze.
Yeah.
Have mercy on me. Well, anyway.
We're not gonna freeze.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that animation. I really love how that actually came out. It's really cool. Well, anyway. Now back to the actual animations and such like that. I already made her stance, her walking forward, Didn't make her walking backwards. I made her falling animation. You can see right here, this kind of looks like a dash. So yeah, this is gonna be her dash right here, and that's pretty much all I made so far. I had the idea of one of her first level 3 supers. Oh yeah, pretty interesting thing. Like her level 1 super, I had the idea of her. Now, like she's gonna get in this position, and she's gonna like you see this little like awesome like yes. You know, I don't even know how to describe this pose. It's like Super Saiyan. But these light bulbs right here.
Is she jumping or is she like powering up?
Oh yeah, she's gonna be jumping, and like I had the idea of like in light mode, what will happen? All right, in light mode, what will happen is that those two bright lights will like encase her fists, and it will do like really heavy stun damage, and it'll do like 5 hits. It's really good to do this in the beginning of a combo because it'll do a lot of damage, but it'll just like spawn those these lights and like just multiply hit her just like multiple times. And in dark mode, it will spawn these really interesting, like the animation for this is really intricate and interesting. In fact, I'm just gonna pause for a second just to show that off. Go to preview mode. Now look at that. Yeah. Like you're gonna see this around here in dark mode when she does the super.
It's crazy.
It's gonna have like multiple hits, but very low damage. But as a return, there's gonna be random projectiles that might spawn around her. Like I had the idea of after she does the super in dark mode, these some aura will be surrounding her, and like she'll be able to. It's kind of like a setup kind of thing. Well, not really, but those will encase her, and it's gonna be like a defensive kind of tactic. So that's that. And I guess today, since this is the very beginning and it'll be boring, yes, I know, but I will be covering I would try to be covering like most of the logic, because as I said, the behind the logic videos before were kind of dumb. So I'm gonna try to recover from that. So
or more like sticker panel simulator.
Sticker pad sim. Alright guys, this is sticker panel simulator. Let's get some sticker panels up. Alright, you see this sticker panel right here that says E.
E for everyone.
E for everyone. Alright, so I'm just gonna like start by explaining some of the logic within these animations, because you all need to know that.
Game freeze.
Oh. Alright guys, I'm gonna edit this game reset.
I just want to show off like how many tags are in this game. Just look at this.
There's a lot. And you know what? This isn't even like the actual level. There's a lot more in the actual like fighting game level.
It's crazy.
Besides the extra tags, because those are like extra for like those are specific for certain characters and players. Like there's an extra tag for the way that the stage moves up, and in the trailer, just so you guys know, the stage that you saw KJ and Spark duking it out, that stage, it actually doesn't move at all. It's just the background moving downwards. Little illusion trick right there. And the background happens to be staying in the same place just to give the illusion of depth and how far the actual building is.
We tricked you.
We tricked you. How does it feel to be tricked?
Tricks are for kids.
Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. Alrighty, so now to begin with the logic.
Yep.
This
is a tag sensor.
on the ground. Alright, so this tag sensor is a game freeze tag sensor. It doesn't freeze the game per se, but if you notice, every single super, the build up for it has a little freeze to it, so that like when you see KJ do a super, you see the opponent freeze in the background, and maybe some projectiles that are out in the open just freeze as well. So this tag pretty much freezes the opponent and everything that's flying around the screen. And there's a little bit of hard logic to actually pull off the game freeze logic, but I managed to do it. Now, this game freeze tag is plugged into an AND sensor. This AND sensor, this other input right here. Oh, right. I can't really explain this trick, it's too complicated. But this AND sensor allows this this timer to move forward. Now the settings of this timer is set to forward and backwards and inverse output. Now, confusing enough, this makes it so that since it's plugged into itself technically from the AND sensor and back into itself, it makes it so that it moves forward and back. And the reason that is because her stance animation is a simple 3-framed, it looks like she's kind of breathing a little bit and just huffing and puffing, just yo, I'm standing here. So it's just 3 frames that go back and forth, so that means the timer has to go back and forth and plug into this sequencer that's set to positional. And that positional, what it means to have a positional sequencer is that whatever time this timer is at is the same, it correlates to what happens over here.
Yeah.
If the timer is set to if you see it on the timer, it's set to about a half. It'll be right here in the sequencer.
Yeah, it copies the frequency.
Pretty much. This gyroscope's kind of pointless, but it just keeps it up. Even though all the animations spawn, in the right direction, it just, for safety. So, in this microchip, it has a tag that has the label Sprite Control Vivid Sprite, and within this microchip it has a tag sensor of the same thing. Now the reason why this is because that you'll see when other animations spawn out, it'll sense that there are other animations that are out, so it'll make this one disappear so that animations don't overlap each other, which is a good thing because you'll have a jumbled mess if you actually don't have that system. I highly recommend that everybody has a system like that. But the reason why this tag is here is, this tag sensor, you're probably asking, well, if this tag sensor is here, wouldn't it just destroy itself? No, because this has an option to let you detect tags in the microchip.
Yeah. And it's set to disabled.
Yep.
Yep.
Now this microchip, kind of the same idea, but if you're blocking, it'll take away these animations because when you're blocking, you wouldn't be just standing there yeah, I'm just blocking with my chest. If that would be the case, nah, I'm not gonna even pull that joke. This is ready to eat for everyone. Now this is a follower right here, as you see, and it's set to human player. As you can see, I have a lot of abbreviations, so I'll just describe that HMN stands for human. This pretty much, it just follows the player, long story short. And then this is a tag sensor that senses regular sprite standing, S meaning sprite, and this is set to inverse output because this is a regular standing sprite. Now, when the actual system detects that there's no regular standing sprite tag out there, it'll activate this timer, which activates this destroyer. This timer is set to 0.1. It'll activate really quickly and it'll destroy the animation. Now this kind of logic applies to every single animation. maybe a little bit of tweaks here and there. Like the timer doesn't sometimes like go back and forth. It just loops itself.
Frames.
Yeah. You know, sometimes the attacker doesn't really go back and forth, but it just simply loops itself. And you know, for jumping, it'll like destroy itself when the dashing animations will be spawned. This is a controlled jump tag sensor, which, you know, detects that like you aren't just falling, you're actually jumping yourself. And, you know, falling, blah blah blah, blocking, crouching, you know, same logic. You know, the blocking is, you know, it'll like say like, oh yeah, I can't move. We want to ignore this tag for now because it's not too important, and I left it in here by accident, but I actually fixed that in the actual system. But it's not too important to worry about what the hell this is. Now, let me catch my breath here. That is all the logic that I have in the movement animations. I probably actually won't get too much into like the character's animation and actually making it myself. But you know, I'll just like, you know, do some logic over, or do some stuff over here. And since, you know, it's always good to remind yourself of how to actually make an animation frame, what I do is, you see right here, this is all sticker panel and stuff. You know, I just, you know, pretty much shapeshift the sticker panel to make a little figure. You know, like you see, oh yeah, I'm gonna change the shape of this so I can like have it in different positions. That's what I pretty much do with all of these characters. Like if I wanted to make her dash backwards, you know, I would just simply take off angle snap, of course, and make it so that it looks like she's actually moving backwards. You know, it'll take a little bit of practice to actually get the hang of making characters in different angles. I'm a little bit experienced with that since I've been animating for a couple of years now, but it is always good to try to draw out your characters, because if you don't have any experience of how to draw any characters that you create, then it's gonna be a little bit helpless when you try to actually animate them. So right here you'll see that I'm kind of, you know, adjusting every single body part. As you see, like, you know, it's gonna look like she's dashing backwards. Say her hand is out like here or something like that. The legs are kind of, you know, strutting out as if, you know, they're just like, whoa, I'm going backwards.
Like, you did that in under a minute.
Say what?
And you did that in under a minute, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
That actually looks really cool. Like, look at this. Like, look at this pose. He's just like, I am too fabulous. I imagine that looks hilarious on your screen. Just like, it just goes out. It's like, I am too fabulous.
Hands off screen.
Deuces. Now, after I make an animation frame, I'll just demonstrate with this animation frame right here what I do to actually, you know, put it in the system. Since shapes are too complicated to actually put together and like have it all animate by itself, I instead take a picture of this, and then oh yeah, first of all, take a picture of any animation frame with a black background so that you don't see any outlines. After I, you know, take a picture of this. Oh, by the way, this is a copy of that, so you didn't have to copy this.
Oh,
like, these two are the same. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I probably should have told you about that earlier. But,
Now it's 3.
Niggas made it. So, the way that I make the image, or after I take a picture of this, I would pretty much flatten the image so that they all can be one shape instead of multiple shapes. Like, look at all these shapes. You have like the torso, you have the arm, you have the scarf, you have the everything, the everything.
The everything.
No, actually, I meant to like take this without the scarf because the scarf is gonna wave with the wind. So I'm gonna, get rid of the scarf, get a black background again, and retake this image without the scarf.
Thank you, Internet.
Yep.
You're in the picture, Camille.
My little tuft of hair at the very bottom is just like chilling there, like, hey guys, can I join the party? So as you can see, Kyle is flattening the image, and he copied and pasted it so that like it can all be one shape. And then he put it to 50% brightness. You saw that on his screen. So after I do that, good technique to actually put pictures on here. I put the picture on here afterwards, and it's good to select it so that you can see the outline of it right here. You can just, select it and deselect it. Just be sure not to go out of the pod, because if you do, then it will get rid of the selection around it, or rather the outline around it. So select it, go immediately to your pictures without exiting the pop-it. And then you'll see right here, I'm not sure if you see on my screen or on your screen, like you see the outline as the picture is being aligned right here. And once you see a perfect fit, place that nigga.
Take a stab at it.
Take a stab at it. And with that, we have the dashing forward animation or frame. There's a lot of still animations in this, so that's her little animation there. And what I said about the scarf, I'm gonna have the scarf a little bit separate, so like it's gonna be waving to the wind. Actually, I'll just have 3 frames, just to make it simple. We'll save all the chill stories for the chill cast.
Yeah.
There we go. Get rid of this. And then, let's see here. It's gonna take, give me that. I'm gonna take this here. I'm just gonna place this here for now, because I don't feel like, I'm gonna close this out. This sequencer is gonna go in here. And just chill. I didn't know I had a mover in here. What? What is this? When was this here? What?
A mover.
Why do I have a mover here when there's a follower? I don't know.
For the dash?
Yeah, but like I have a follower in here, and the dash already kind of activates and such. Huh. Ah, well.
Wait. What is it following?
The actual system, the whole system player thing, whatchamacallit. But anyway, alright, for Stephanie's dash, there was like that little after effect of like the awesomeness, just whoosh, like deuces. So in here, since the scarf is 3 animation frames, it's just gonna like get rid of one of the batteries, and then plug that in there, plug this in here, and then the last battery gets plugged into the last animation right here. And then here we go. And just leave that there for a second so I can glue everything together. Put this 3 scarf animation frames right here, and then stick it all together. And what do you get? A dash animation frame. What do you think you get? Who are you? What are you thinking? Anyway, yeah, that's dash animation. Dash animation. Can't English right now. And just a little bit of a test to see how it looks like. It's not really much because, you know, it's just one frame with a scarf waving to the wind. But in game, you'll see it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Looks sexy.
She's just like, deuces!
No, don't freeze, don't freeze. Okay, we're good. Is this part of the dash? What is like this frame?
I think I had that part of like, I was thinking about attacks that she can have, and that was going to be part of an animation frame for like the build-up of an attack for like, let's say she has a dash attack that like pretty much looks like this, but it's dangerous.
I see. Hey, Kamau, do you truly want to freeze?
Let's freeze!
Look, the knock-8.
Oh gosh. It'll activate everything. Everything will die. Oh boy. How much time do we at? 41 minutes. Cool. Stretching. Everything. You know, since we're not gonna really get too much in depth with the animations, I'm probably like changing my plans on the spot. This is improv right here. Be proud of me. So anyway, I'm gonna go on and explain some of these damage attacks or damage animations. Now, of course, you know, you can't be attacking during any of these animations, so that's what this general damage tag is for. And as I explained a while back, any of your attack animations will disable, and as well as your movements will disable. So that will pretty much leave you in a bit of stun. You know, you'll see the animation, like that's the first frame, the second frame. This is a light like poke, so you know you're just like, ouch, that hurt just a little bit, but I'm all right. Just as long as you don't continue this combo, I think I'll be fine. So yeah, this little microchip right here contains a little general damage tag set on inverse input. And wait, is it? No, it's not. It's set to regular. This tag sense is set to regular, so when it senses a general damage tag, not this one since it's in the same microchip, and it's set to not detecting the same, not detect any tags in the same microchip. So, you know, if there's a combo, it'll like, you know, you'll see another animation frame like this one. It'll appear, then this one will appear. You know, like maybe you'll do a deep stun, like this one will appear. You know. And so on and so forth, and comboing and fun combos and getting hurt. And you know, the game freeze tag allows me to freeze the game, not literally, but like freeze the action in the game to actually have a little bit of cinematic like coolness going on in the back. Excuse me. So those are all the light attacks. They're pretty simple. Now the heavy attacks, they're a little bit complicated. There's a lot to go over, but I might not really. I'm gonna try to simplify it the best that I can. So just to begin with, the game freeze tag, of course, does the same thing. Now this first microchip pretty much controls like the first bit of animations, and that is when the animation, or when the first part of the animation is activated. So, you know, this is the little bit of stun. This is when she's getting launched up. Oh, you know, let me just begin with, this is the heavy upper. So since she's getting hit upwards, this is when like she's in that position where she's like having her chin all up, her head is back, and her body is kind of straight, flying upwards, straight up into the air. And she'll slowly fall back as her body kind of tilts to the back as her head falls down to the ground. And then when she hits the ground, this movement grounded tag sensor will activate, saying that she hit the ground, and the selector is put on cycle, so it'll go to the next input. Now this second input, this second output is plugged into a timer that's set to inverse output, which means like it's not going to activate when it's full, and that's plugged into this so that once this is activated, it'll start going the opposite direction, and it will turn this off in 0.1 seconds. It's also set to start to count up, so that means once it's activated, it will never stop or start again. It'll just go on until it's until it dies, I guess. So it'll also the second output is also plugged into this AND switch. And this microchip is being plugged into the AND switch, blah. In this in this microchip, you see a timer right here plugged into a sequencer. This timer is set to 0.3, and this is during the state of which when Stephanie is hitting the ground, and she kind of has that little ground bounce, where she's kind of like floating in air for a little bit, all that goodness. And it will finally, when she's on the ground again, it will go to the next cycle, which will activate this here. This microchip destroys the animation and spawns a separate animation for when she's laying down on the ground, down here. It'll do a short animation of her getting back up. She's invincible. She's of course invincible during this time, and it'll allow her to get back up. There's a lot of tags right here. I'll explain that in a second. You got your game freeze tag again, just in case someone stupidly does a super when the player is down, and in this microchip, you see a tag sensor. Alright, controller, you can turn it off. You see this tag sensor that says damage KO, and that senses that the player is KO'd, and it'll this whole microchip's purpose is to stop this animation when this battery is being activated into right here, and you're down on the ground, and it'll stop the animation from you getting up so that you can fight again. So that's pretty much the meaning behind that. And now these tags down here, this is the general damage tag, as for any animation that allows you to get stunned. This is a useless tag that I'll explain later on, because it's useful for a menace moveset. This is spread control falling on back. It'll sense that you are on your back and not your face, of course. And I might use that for whenever someone actually gets KO'd. And don't get hype about this, but I'm thinking about trying to actually add tag team like Skullgirls in Little Big Planet 3 whenever that comes out. But it's very, 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 very hard to do. It's an unstable process that allows a lot of testing. But for now, I'm just going to rely to my 10 characters that are going to be released anywhere. This last tag is a damage invincible tag, which means that you cannot be attacked when you're on the ground. Anytime this tag is out, you can't be attacked. It's invincible. It makes you stronger than yesterday, like Britney Spears. And then everything is pretty much the same in this animation. It's just this time she's on her face. So that's what this sprite control tag is, falling on face. Same thing applies with, there's a little bit of a bounce to her falling on her face animation. Like she kind of like twitches a little bit. You see her ears kind of perk up, and then they go down when she hits her face on the ground. So it stops on the second frame, which is her like subtly on the ground on her face. Unfortunately, poor rabbit.
Must be painful.
Yeah, being on your face, it kind of hurts.
Face plant.
This brother had me falling.
What is this? Illuminati confirmed.
I think Illuminati is going to attack us. I think Illuminati is gonna just come to my door. Oh, here they are. Let's look at the facts. This triangle, it's so three-sided. It's so three-vortexed. It's so triangular. What is this geometry? This geometry, I can't take it anymore. It's Illuminati confirmed. Illuminati.
Illuminati.
Illuminati. Remember when Illuminati wasn't scary?
Wait, it's not showing up on my screen.
Nor is it mine. What in the world?
What the heck? Come on, game.
What's happening?
There we go. Illuminati. That's why. Yeah, is that working?
Oh well. Screw Illuminati. They're not scary anyway. They don't scare me. So, going back to the animations, that's what we just like had a rant about Illuminati being evil. It's pretty much the same thing applies to the heavy far animation when you are launched and you kind of slide on the ground. The first time that you hit the ground though, instead of doing that little ground bounce, you actually slide on the ground. You see a little bit of dust trail, and this brother had you slayed, pretty much. The heavy down animation only has 2 frames because once you get heavy down, once you get hit to the ground, you'll bounce back up, and it'll spawn this other animation that launches you way back in the air since it's really, really heavy. It doesn't, stun you downwards. It just, knocks you to the ground and then makes you get back all the way up into the air. And that would hurt a lot because ground bouncing to that velocity is pretty painful, especially for the bones. After that, it'll spawn this animation, which is pretty much like heavy upper. It's just that it starts with you kind of hitting the ground. The first animation frame is you on your back, ground bouncing back up, pretty much. There's not much really to explain here other than the first animation frame. It's pretty much the same as heavy upper. Now heavy stun, it's pretty simple to explain. Just a animation that draws out your stun animation. It kind of gets you down to your knees and then you fall to your face. Only thing that I can really have to explain is just the fact that the timer is set to 1 second so that it gives the opponent enough time to actually continue their combo, since you did a really, really deep, heavy stun on them, you get a free combo off of that, which is great. Heavy trip animation, just 2 animation frames, you just get tripped. You kind of you're like, whoa, and you fall on your face, pretty much. It's not much to explain with this. You get launched up a little bit, you see that you are falling down to the ground and on your face. Super launch, it's pretty much like heavy far, only this time it launches you pretty far and high, and it hurts a lot sometimes when you actually apply it to an attack. It'll launch you flipping out, and it's pretty crazy, man. And now...
Could be seen at a lot of specials, or hypers.
Yeah. These two are the getting grabbed animations. One is for getting grabbed by a tactical grab, like an unblockable grab, and the other is a grab that's you can combo into it, but you can't, it's blockable. But I'll just go into one of them since it's pretty easy to explain. The difference between the both is that this grab tag is there, and it's just a general grab. It's telling the system that you're getting grabbed. Now, the animations are various, or the animations are varied depending on what it would look like to get grabbed in a certain way. It'll just activate a certain animation, or rather, a certain sprite that shows that you were getting grabbed in a special kind of way. That kind of sounds dirty. Cut that out.
Were you grabbed in a special kind of way?
I was grabbed into a special zone.
So what is this grab? What is this exactly?
What it does is that it activates a special animation that shows that you're being grabbed, and there's different animation frames for certain positions for the character, so that it shows different kinds of perspectives of let's say you're being stabbed, and that kind of is a grab. It would show, if you see the outline of this, it'll show that you're kind of being thrusted back a little bit, ow, that kind of hurts a lot.
I see. My first thought was you can actually grab a player for some reason.
Yeah, kind of like that. Some of them are actually grabs, some of them aren't. They're just various kinds of animations that will allow the player to... There's a little bit more depth with grabbing an opponent.
Yeah.
Just another example, let's say there's an animation for Squinja that is he grabs the opponent's foot. No, he grabs the opponent with his foot and kind of drags him to the other side, so it kind of has this animation where it's he's grabbing the opponent by his foot and swinging him over to the other side, and it's just holy crap, I'm being dragged by your foot to the other side of you, and this hurts. So yeah. Those are probably not really great examples, but you will see in actual gameplay that that kind of stuff happens. Whoops. There's 5 different animation frames. Though the 5th one, you see that there's only 4 different kinds of sprites.
So,
the 5th
these are
one,
pretty much stuns?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 5th animation is actually you see that this selector output is plugged into nothing. The reason being is for attacks that make the opponent pretty much disappear or something like that. Let's say for Kayla's little box, for example, when she traps you in her box, you don't really see yourself. You're just you can only assume that you're trapped inside the box. It's pretty much giving the illusion that that you're following this box and you're being launched way up high. You'll see in another combo video, and actually it already showed you some of Kayla's new attacks, her little Pandora box that launches up. Yeah.
Cool character.
Yeah. This is one of the main examples. This is the lookout rotator. It has the it pretty much looks at something. That's self-explanatory. The look at rotated looks at something. Yeah. So it's assigned to look at a tag that has the label of damage sprite grab direct, and that's pretty much like a tag that directs the direction that the animation is looking towards. Like, you know, for your foot grab, I actually had to make it so that it looked like you were being dragged over to the other side, like, you know, you were actually holding them by your foot, and, you know, it wouldn't just look like, you know, oh no, I'm being grabbed, let me just stand still like this, you know. There's actually a little bit more depth with it, like, you know, you actually kind of twist and turn, of course, you know. Yeah. That whole spiel. So that is the damage animations in a nutshell. Let me catch my breath. It's been an hour. Clarity crisis. Ugh. I think I might leave the explanation for the animations into another behind the logic video, because it's been an hour and it will take a long enough time to process everything. So to wrap this up, I'm just gonna, you know, give a little outro of like, if you want to figure out what more logic does, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, follow most of my videos, and you'll get a good update on how to work logic in Little Big Planet 2. Now, let me just remind you, in this project, I've had a lot of trouble. So don't expect everything to go as planned, because this game, very well done. It's really great. In fact, I can't complain. I shouldn't be able to complain about anything about this, since given the ability to pretty much create my own game. But this game has a lot of flaws, so I would be careful of what you do. I have a feeling that if I teach you everything about this, you can probably find your own ways to actually make things better, how to make things less laggy, and let alone make the game a better perform game. If you decide to make your own game that has a lot of complex logic and a lot of complex you know, if, ands, or ors and whatnot and such. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, just be sure to hit that like button and subscribe today to join us in this adventure through Behind the Logic. Deuces. I got that recorded. Highlights.
Been holding that for 2 hours. No, not really, but